Guys, welcome back to the Joyish Kingdom. Welcome back to the coffee break. I just realized too, my lights are on over by the kitchen, and my lighting actually looks better. So I don't know, like something on stream for some reason, I'd be feeling like my video quality has been down, and then, like very recently, I like really zoomed in on the grain, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's a lack of light because like my apartment's blacked out. Like I have like blacked out curtains behind me. They're red, but they're blackout curtains, so no light gets through them. So like the only light is coming from these two little key lights in front of me. And I'm thinking maybe this little kitchen light over there is not a bad move. So, anyways, guys, welcome back to the coffee break in the Joyish Kingdom. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin NFTs. We're going to talk about some metaverse stuff, just because there's some cool things going on over in Meta land, in Facebook land, actually. Some really, really cool shit that I'm excited to talk to you guys about. Other than that, we're going to talk about NFTs, cryptocurrency, all the things that have been happening. I hope you're excited to get into it. If you are, make sure you smash the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. If you're in spaces, wherever you're at, make sure you hit that bottom right icon, retweets, likes, shares, the best way to support the space. I appreciate y'all. I've also been reading, what's it called? Expert Secrets over there by Russell Brunson, the second book in the .com Secrets trilogy. Highly recommend for anyone who's interested at all in business. Highly recommend for anyone who's interested in ever being an entrepreneur in any capacity. It's a must read because it's like foundational information. It's like being able to add before you go into the world. Like you just need to know this, and it's like weird to me that I did a business for a year without knowing some of these things, just because it would have made my life a whole lot easier. But it's not really our fault. I think a lot of people right now are frozen in terror from the amount of like extra information, how much extra there is. That's probably not really necessary. And I think all that extra, I've heard this term before being thrown around of like analysis paralysis. And I'm if there's a single person that could just body that word, that is me, fam. I'm an overanalyzer. I just sit there. I could sit here at my desk. In fact, I do this. This is why I can say this. I can sit here all day and I can just contemplate. Like if someone paid me to be a philosopher, a full-time philosopher, and they're like, we need you to just sit there and just think about stuff, I'm like, I'm your fucking dude. That's me. So it is. Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about. I hope you guys are excited to get into it. Let's do it. I'm going to share my screen for YouTube. Here we go. So it's been going to just the coffee breaks recently. You guys know that this will be the last coffee break at 1 p.m. PST. That's going to be like a standard, every Monday through Thursday. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. That was just an experiment. So we capped it at 4 weeks. I contemplating doing 2 months. But I think I've gotten what I was supposed to get out of it, which is just the experience, the perspective that comes from running a daily show. Can I do the daily show? Do I like doing the daily show? Blah, blah, blah. I got a lot of the answers that I need to get out of it. So at the 4 week mark, we're going to chop it. Coffee break's not stopping. The coffee break show will be a thing. It will be a main segment on the channel. I think I want to do it as often as I can. Tickle break. I see. What's the deal with Bitcoin NFTs? We're going to talk about it. A lot of things are the deal with Bitcoin NFTs. It's going to change a lot of the culture actually around it. So stay tuned. We're going to be getting that. We're going to be getting to that. It's going to be one of the first topics. So make sure you stick around for it. I appreciate you being here, man. On-chain monkeys floor price 2 ETH. Bitcoin NFT airdrop for OCM holders. Oh, very, very interesting. Yeah, on-chain monkey project. That's kind of I was introduced to it from a friend who isn't like a big trader, so I didn't like initially dive in just because like I didn't know if he had just been there since mint. Like I couldn't remember why he liked them so much. But dude, the last few months, On-Chain Monkey is a beast project. Actually, the founder of him and I have connected on Twitter before. Found out he's in Seattle, the same city as me. So that's the benefit of living in a city. If you're in NFT land, if you're an entrepreneur / tech startup world, that's the benefit you get of living in the city. So if you're trying to meet people and connections and stuff, a city is a good place to be. He's actually here in the city. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we can do an in-person podcast with him, or at least get to meet with him, get some coffee with him or something like that. Even though Seattle's coffee is mid at best, bruh. Dude, Seattle coffee is the most mid shit ever. I have a latte here. I just went to this place called Cherry Street Coffee House. The vibes and all the coffee shops here are dope. I love the vibes, the smell, the aroma, everything. The coffee is just so average. It just hurts. It's like not even average. It's like I'd literally rather drink my homemade Keurig coffee. Actually, speaking of that, let me grab my Keurig coffee. One sec. All right. Y'all see this shit? Y'all see this on the stream? This is a Yeti cup, or one of those Yeti cups. It's like $10 K cup or Keurig machine. Oh, fuck. There's too much coffee in here. But that thing does the job, fam. It does the job. It's better than most of the shit that I buy in the Seattle coffee shop. So unfortunately, if you're going to visit Seattle, the coffee itself is not actually that good. But anyways, what was I talking about, man? What was I talking about? I can't even remember. But yeah, Bitcoin NFTs. That's gonna really change the dynamic of the culture surrounded by around Bitcoin. So we're gonna kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into that. Recently, we've had some cool podcasts, like I've mentioned before: Giancarlo, Crypto Gorilla, Birding, Cool Times, Mo, Easy Eats, Luca Nets, Amir Hussein, like a Crypto Wendy, KSNS, the coolest people. I want to remind y'all for next week, Wednesday, Tea Time is coming back. We're gonna try and do it about once a month. It's gonna be me and Tom, so you guys know me and Tom, the OG duo. Tea Time with Tom is coming back, and it's gonna be next Wednesday. We're gonna try and nail out a time. I'll make sure to put like a reminder out so people are aware of it before it comes out. Really, really excited to catch up with him and the Unorthodox team. We're gonna try and get him, Zerk, and Spaceman on, potentially some guys over from the Evolve team that they've been working with Reese as well. So I'm really, really excited about that. Tigger Rick says, I honestly thought that the only utility behind Bitcoin was that it was first. Everyone is moving on from proof of work, so NFTs on Bitcoin doesn't sound very appealing. And that's the exact fucking rhetoric and narrative we're going to be piecing apart. We're going to be like picking apart and trying to decide what the move is here. If Bitcoin really is something that people want to be building on top of, or if Bitcoin is made so that it doesn't need to have utility, because the point was not to have that. The point was to be a storage of wealth, and also to be kind of like a slap in the face to the government. So that's a really interesting topic, Tickle Rake. I'm glad you actually, Tickle Rake, if you want to jump into spaces, I would actually love to have discourse with you and kind of go back and forth on this, because that's going to be one of the that is like the main topic. Before we do it, let's do a little recap, fam. Let's do a little recap. Let's check out what's going on in the markets. Crypto Dream, dude, I see you, fam. If you want to dive in and have a little discussion back and forth on the Bitcoin, would love to know your thoughts on that as well. But before we do, I want to watch this one video before we talk about all that stuff, just to prime your mind for the metaverse as well, because this is also a main topic. You guys know metaverse is a topic that I bring up a lot. So I want to play this really quick sound bite from the podcast, or the Coffee Break podcast I did with Brett. And he's just really, really he's a serial entrepreneur. He knows what he's talking about. He's made a fuck ton of money. And this is his perspective on why and how AI solves the metaverse problem. So I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can listen in with me. If you're in Spaces, you'll be able to hear this. If you're on YouTube, direct your eyes to the screen, fam, because you'll be able to see and hear this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Biggest constraint with the metaverse, in my opinion, has always been the visual experience. But if AI can make Mid-Journey level photos, translate that into a 3D world, it's just a matter of computing power at this point. Anybody can create a fully photorealistic, stylistic 3D world. AI creates the visual aspect, which is what's going to drive mass adoption. Now you just know you own these things on the internet, which are backbone of blockchains and NFTs, but no one will ever know that. Biggest constraint.
So Brett, just for context, Brett is a big proponent. Like, he's not really into the Web3 degen world almost at all anymore. He used to be one of the top influencer people in like Twitter. He still is. He's got like 200K on Twitter, but like he's not like he's a small fish. But he doesn't care as much about that. Much more of a proponent for the business side, which is like, yo, NFTs are going to be here. They're going to be utilized. It's going to be it's going to be literally the foundation of all these things. But people aren't going to care like the way they care today with these Pudgy Penguins, with the Board Yacht Club, with these like little, communities and things like that. Him and I differ there a little bit. I think that they're going to matter more than he thinks, but I don't think that they're going to matter as much as I hope they do. Like, I'm not sure exactly how they're going to play. He's definitely a little bit more bearish on like the projects and the founders and things like that. So we'll see what happens there. But as far as AI solving the metaverse problem, especially with like the visual side of it, of like, how do I say this? AI it pushes the narrative of the metaverse so much faster than it was possible before, which is why I'm surprised that AI coins have pumped and not metaverse coins, just because I feel like they should go hand in hand. And so my thesis here, just so you guys are aware, my thesis moving forward for when the market starts to become more macro bullish again at some point, and we're in a world where I feel safer sinking in a few hundred or, maybe even thousands of dollars into smaller cap coins and smaller plays like that, I will be thinking in conjunction there with AI and metaverse, because I think at some point the narrative will push them together. And they'll say, wait a second, if AI is pumping, then the metaverse token should pump as well, because AI is going to be designing the metaverse. I mean, think about Mid-Journey. You type in three letters or 3 words and it pops out this whole image. And imagine if AI works with Mid-Journey and creates these metaverse worlds in a fucking snap of a finger. And now, like, imagine if Meta gets their hands on that and they get to really, really mess with the AI stuff. I'm sure they already are. And actually, I'm going to play a video later on. I'm just going to show you how much of an improvement they've made on the last thing we really hit on for what the metaverse looked like inside of Meta land, Facebook land, with Mark Zuckerberg. He looked like a piece of shit. It looked like a Minecraft, with a tiny, with a little bit of extra pixels in it, maybe. And now, oh my God, it looks tremendously better. So this is a really, really cool topic for me. So anyways, just wanted to prime your brain for the metaverse topic, prime your mind for NFTs. Let's go over the crypto markets. Market cap, $1.27 trillion. The Bitcoin dominance at 41.3%. Bitcoin having a little bit of a pullback, down 7.5% on the 7-day chart, down 4% in 24 hours. We're sitting at 21.9K. Ethereum, $1,572, down 6% on the 7-day. BNB down 6.5% the 7-day, $307. XRP at 38 cents, down 6.5%. So everything's pretty much down around 5 to 10%. Right now, it's a whole lot of red, a classic normal pullback. I hope people aren't freaking out. But it seems to be that everyone called this one. Everyone pretty much said by the end of the month, January, we should be turning back bearish. And it looks like a lot of people were right. I think I was even more right. Actually, you know what? Let's zoom out right here. Let's look at the Ethereum chart, not Bitcoin. Since we talk more in terms of Ethereum for NFT stuff, we'll just check out Ethereum. So a few weeks ago, at least I made a prediction on this channel that I thought by the 2.5 week of January, we would start to see the reversal. Everyone else said the 4th week of January, we would see the reversal. So I don't know if at this point it's too late. Actually, I'll just let that load. While we're waiting on that, well, this is cool. This is actually really weird to me. Oh, fuck, my screen was not being shared. I hate myself. There we go. My bad. So, okay, well, I just read through all the numbers. So you know the numbers, at least. Like, I've recited them to you. But let's look at this. This is weird. The NFT marketplace. The top 10 don't even feature OpenSea. And I'm just so confused how OpenSea is sitting there at number 13. I don't know what happened. There must have been an issue because OpenSea is sitting at number 13. We have Blur at number 1 with $26.7 million volume, up 50% in the last day. X2Y2 down 42% in the last day, which is weird. So yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff going on. In the last day, there's been a 50% uptick in Blur and a 50% to 60% downturn everywhere else. There's some random NFT, like, I don't know. This is so weird. Does anyone know what's going on here? Why is OpenSea at 13 with $2,000 of volume and 82 traders and the average price of $10? Something happened here. I don't know. Someone's got to tell me what happened here. I don't know what happened, but OpenSea is down, I guess, or something. Even though it's working, like I was on it earlier today, I didn't really notice anything different. Okay, Ethereum, really, are you going to be like that for real? Are you for real going to do that to me right now? I can just pull this up in 3 seconds on my phone, but the computer's going to sit there and load for 30 minutes to pull up one fucking chart? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We have these technical difficulties, but this is why we have cell phones. Let's look at Bitcoin. Since we're talking about Bitcoin and NFT, look at the Bitcoin chart. Let's see how correct I was on this shit. So in the last month, it looks like at least for crypto. Oh wait, that's not the proper chart. I can't even look at Bitcoin. Actually, you know what? I may have to wait and zoom out on an OpenSea chart, and I think I'm going to need some more time before I be able to zoom in on that. But let's look at these. Let's look at these top 10. Yeah, Crypto Dream is possible. It's a glitch. It's possible. It's just strange that it's still sitting there and there's a little bit of volume. But anyway, for Pudgy Penguins, it was up at 6. It was up at 6 ETH floor yesterday, sitting at 5.5 today at number 1. Other D by their side at 1.73 ETH. CloneX at 4.91. Doodles at 5.81. Number 5, we have Chex VV Edition has been going down on a steady decline recently. Number 5, Azuki at 15 ETH. Moonbirds at 7. Mutant Apes at 15. Bored Apes at 78. Sewer Pass at 1.98 after finally closing off. On-Chain Monkey at 2.39. Bored Ape Kennels at 7.65. Those are your top 12. Real quick on Sewer Pass, that is just closed today. There's been a lot of speculation on Sewer Pass recently as to how legit it was. There was a bunch of hacks, and not hacks, but there's been a bunch of like cheating that's been apparently documented that everyone's talking about. I don't know enough about it. Like, I don't know if it's actually been proven yet. I think they're all trying to decide that right now. There's a couple tweets that went viral recently about some people that I guess figured out some kind of algorithm hack and were able to kind of just like cheat their way through. I'm not sure. And I'm going to assume that the on-chain monkey pump has been because of what Tucker said a second ago, that they're going to be getting some kind of Bitcoin NFT airdrop for on-chain monkey. I don't know how or what, but that's pretty cool for me. Let's see. Tucker Rick, you're like, how are you ahead of me right now? Like, how is it? He's like, it's like Tickle Rick is having a conversation with me in 20 minutes. Like, it's like he's responding to my responses somehow. I'm really pumped actually to read through these because we're about to get to the Bitcoin stories. But yeah, Superpass, that's finished. Still sitting at like almost 2 ETH floor. So not sure how long that'll last. Rug Radio, the faces of Web3, has finally continued their minting. The floor, I'm hesitant to refresh this because I'm worried it's going to get fucked. But I was able to mint. I had one because I had a Nifty Portal NFT. I also held like a couple other NFTs I think that were on their list for the pre-mint, and I registered for pre-mint yesterday, and I was able to get it. So I minted one at 0.065 or something like that, the floor. And that's when there was, I think, 12,000 items or 15. So now their items are going to go all the way up to about 20K, I think. And so when that happens, who knows what the floor will sit at. I'm down to hold it just because they're so relevant. I feel like it's better to bet on projects like this just because you know they're going to show up. You know for a fact that they're a project and they're a company that is out there every single day on Twitter, which is the #1 platform, and they're crushing it there. So these kind of projects make me more interested to buy because it's not like, like they're right there. Like they're doing the content and people aren't mad at them. As long as they keep bringing in good shows, they should be somewhat fine. And we saw proven proven, what's the word? Market fit, if that makes sense. Like they had a 20K collection of the rugs, by the way, not even like PFPs, rugs, actual fucking rugs. And those held a 0.5 ETH floor leading up to this thing and normally hold around 0.2 or 0.3. So in my opinion, these will do somewhere similar just because they're better. I'd rather hold this than a rug, obviously. And this is the one that they're going to want to push. This is the one that they want people to rep. They're going to be all over Twitter, I'm going to assume, especially if you want to be, coming up on stage. They're going to want to see you, repping one of these, your Twitter profile picture. I think these will do well, macro, medium to long term. Short term, again, I'm not the guy to go for trading. If you want to know more about the trading, be ready to tune in tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. on Philip's Web3 show. Philip is another fellow NFT YouTuber. He's a lot more of a trader than I am, so he'll definitely be talking about this. I'm really excited about that. John Ronan says Rug Radio will moon next bull. That's probably true, fam. That really is probably true. Tigger Rick says, dude, I'm sorry. No, it's not bad. I'm not mad. I just think it's funny because like it literally looks like you're talking to someone. And I was like, fuck, did I say something about Bitcoin? Anyways, here we go. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and then we're going to talk about this new update with the metaverse and some really cool things that it's just the thing that I'm really interested in. Anyways, so this is from NFT Now, How Ordinals Fractured the Bitcoin Community and Why It Was Necessary. This was published 3 days ago, so there might be a couple things that are a bit, have been, people have a different perspective on because there's been 3 days worth of conversation, as you know, in NFT land. Means there's been about like 600 million hours of discussion around one topic. So would love to know what people think about it. If you want to come up and chat, definitely hit that request button. Crypto Dream, if you're interested, I know you're more of a crypto guy. Tigger Rick, if you want to jump into the spaces, definitely would love to have a discourse with you. So just for a little bit of context, so you guys, I'm sure everyone's saying ordinals everywhere, and I'm like, I should have bought ordinals kind of thing. How do I say this? I'm glad this happened because people are now introduced to Bitcoin, because I don't think most people are, including myself, really, until like I had a small introduction to it, but not really, in the sense that I don't know enough about Bitcoin maxis. I don't know really what they're about. I don't know what the actual culture around Bitcoin is, unless you like hear it directly, if that makes sense. And it sounds really silly to say. It sounds really silly to say it like that. But when most people get introduced to crypto, it's like buy Bitcoins, buy probably Bitcoin, buy probably Ethereum, and they're a cryptocurrency and they're going to go up. Bitcoin's the biggest, Bitcoin's the oldest, Bitcoin's the #1. That's pretty much the extent that you get of Bitcoin. I'm just going to say that out. That's a fact. That's how most people think about and are introduced to Bitcoin. They have no idea that most of people who bought Bitcoin in the beginning bought it not 100% just to trade on this stupid little coin thing. At that point, no, it was not cool. They did it because they were like, fuck the government. We don't want to have to call someone every time you have to transact more than $5,000. This is stupid. We want to have this permissionless. So just to quote them, to the libertarian-leaning maxis, Bitcoin is an identity. And again, I'm quoting this from the NFT Now. On the one hand, it's a means of protecting savings and fighting inflation. That has obviously look, some of these things with crypto, there's holes, right? There's holes that are leaking in our ship right now. Not everything works yet. I think some of these bigger theses will come through at some point. But yeah, continuing on. But on the other hand, it's a political statement. It's a means to instantly transfer money to anyone cheaply and without permission. To them, Bitcoin is a middle finger to the Federal Reserve, the government, and every bank in the world. In 2022, when a GoFundMe withheld millions of dollars donated to Canadian truckers protesting COVID vaccine mandates, the Bitcoin community circumvented government and financial regulations by sending hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin directly into truckers' wallets. That's the power of Bitcoin. That's the power of crypto, and that's why Bitcoin has people who hold Bitcoin has so much conviction because of that thesis. Now, yes, that can work across all cryptos. Bitcoin's just the first. Bitcoin's the biggest. People who bought Bitcoin at 1 cent are obviously fucking billionaires at this point or something like that. And the reason this has such an uproar in NFT land for them is because they're like, look, that is the only reason for Bitcoin. Just for a couple quotes here. Hold on. Oh, never mind. People aren't really sure on what they think, what they want Bitcoin to do. Do they? Why can't I explain this right? So let me do a story instead that might be better to explain this. So, fuck, I had the story in my head 2 seconds ago. Hold on. Wait, if I can't remember this, I'm gonna have to just send it to fucking Crypto Dream. But hold on, I had a fucking story. Wait, let me. It might come back to me. Hold on. All right. Well, while I think, I'm just gonna play this song for a couple seconds, but I think I have it. Okay. I remember. So this is something that I've talked about before, and I think it was like with the boys or something, probably recording a podcast or something stupid like that. But the idea of the people who wrote the Constitution, the people who wrote the Declaration of Independence, these guys and girls and all these people in history who like had these plans for the future and wrote these big statements or made these big decisions, and they were like, this is the final thing, right? Like, and perfect example, the Bitcoin creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, had this idea for what Bitcoin wanted to be, what he thought the world should be, how it could help the world, blah, 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 makes this coin. 20 years later, here we are, and we're trying to decide if Bitcoin should have extra utilities, right? And now we're in the discussion. This is the real argument factor. Do we want Bitcoin to have more utility, or do we want Bitcoin to be what it was when it was made? And in the same way, which is why I brought the Declaration of Independence into it, and the Constitution, should we be upgrading the Constitution and Declaration of Independence because that is a fucking multi-hundred-year-old fucking document? Why are we still reading this thing? You know what I mean? Like, yes, there are some things that are principles. Some things don't change. When you get a tattoo of a soccer ball and 10 years later you're not playing soccer, that's kind of stupid. But if you get something to do with your morals or something like that, your character, that's not going to probably grow out of it in a couple of years. You're probably going to hold on to that. So that's the real fucking discussion is, should we move on and should we innovate on Bitcoin because that's what NFTs are. Should we build on Bitcoin? And for me, I'm like, fam, if you can, people will. And it's the stupidest thing to argue over that, to think that we should even be discussing if they should or shouldn't. I'm like, can we? If the answer is yes, then the answer is yes. Like, yes, yeah. People are going to build on this if they can. Bitcoin's the number one cryptocurrency. If people have an opportunity to build on it, they are. That's my perspective. I also don't have a problem with that either. I'm a fan. I'm a maxi of innovation. I'm an innovation maxi, a metaverse maxi. I'm for it. Would love to know, Crypto Dream, if you're against it, would love to know why. And obviously, I'm not gonna be fucking mad if you do or don't. Like, I don't care. But would love to know more about this topic and kind of talk about it.
Yeah. So I watched a video and I was talking to two people that actually code and everything, and they were talking about how it could actually take up less congestion than normal Bitcoin because there's two parts of a transaction. It's the part that the person who's wanting the transaction done and the people that do the transaction for them. And the side that does the transaction actually could use a ton of memory past what they use. So if people are worried about congestion, that shouldn't be an issue. And then also I'm kind of more, I like how Bitcoin was, but I see what you're saying for sure that, if it can and it will, people are going to do it and it's inevitable.
Is there anything that you believe in for crypto that you don't believe that should be the same like thesis? Like, is there anything that you'd rather people not build on, or is pretty much if they can, they will for everything? Like, do you think I was right in that statement, or do you just really kind of like, are you on board with that because Bitcoin, or?
I mean, there's tons of things that people are capable of doing that I don't think they should do necessarily. I mean, I think that AI is going to take us down a road that we won't be the same for sure, and it'll make people lazy and people easily to manipulate. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it's tough too because like when these kind of topics come up and then something happens or doesn't happen, now we have it's almost, to get like really philosophical about it, it almost turns into a question of like, would this have happened with or without this? In the same way, like when people talk about Gary Vee, would punks have ever blown up? Would NFTs ever have blown up if he hadn't been here? And his angle is like, yeah, it would have been here regardless. I really don't know, fam. With NFTs, I really don't know about that one because I don't know anyone who's talking about besides Gary. So like for me, that one's really tough. It's up in the air. If we go with his perspective, let's just take his thesis and run with it for a second. Let's just roll with this and see where it goes. Right? Say Gary Vee is right. Say NFTs were gonna blow up. It was always gonna be this big. If it wasn't Gary, it was gonna be somebody else. If we go with that thesis, then it's like, A, where does that leave us? B, like, I wonder who would have actually been the Gary Vee. If Gary Vee hadn't been the Schiller, the original Schiller, who would it have been? Would it have been fucking Crypto Skulls that blew up instead of Crypto Punks? Like, imagine if Punks had not been the one to moon. We never would have had PFP season. Imagine if Ether Rocks was the standard. And instead of Lazy Lions, it was fucking lazy Spanish moss on oak tree. Like, could you fucking imagine? And it sounds so dumb to say that, but that's literally facts. Like, if we hadn't had punks, a PFP project, pixelated, if that hadn't happened, we would not have a remotely close NFT space right now. It would not be, I don't know if it would be PFPs. You know, like, imagine, like, what would NFTs be if not for the PFPs, right? Like, Twitter saved us all. Like, I don't know what we would have done. And like the way NFTs blew up in the style that they did, where now people, like, especially for NFTs over crypto, which is why I separate the two. It's why I don't talk too much about crypto, because I do believe they're very different while they're also in a similar sphere of conversation. NFTs are much more about culture than they are about tech. I mean, yes, you need the tech and the tech is cool to talk about, but culture is why people are here. You know, NFTs are here because people feel a certain identity that they like to associate themselves with in certain groups. And they feel like a certain way. If you're rich, you can kind of get your way into these no matter what, you know, just because you want to. And again, so just to kind of bring it back to Bitcoin, with Bitcoin, the perceived narrative around Bitcoiners and Bitcoin maxis is that they're very proud. They kind of think they're better than everyone. That's like the narrative you get. But it's the same fucking narrative where you are. You know, like if you're a Solana maxi, then that's what you think about for ETH people. You know, and if you're a Cardano person, you're probably thinking about Solana. And it's kind of how it is everywhere. Bitcoin is just number one. It's at the top. Meaning the people who are Bitcoin maxis probably are the richest. You know, it's possible that maybe Ethereum, but that is kind of the narrative with Bitcoin. And so a lot of Bitcoin maxis who are kind of OG, they don't like this innovation. They don't like people building on it. These people remind me of my grandpa. He doesn't want anything new. He doesn't believe in it. He doesn't care. The only time he ever relented and said, okay, I guess NFTs aren't that bad, is when I told him I was working in NFTs. And I had like a job in NFTs. He was like, okay, well, that's fine. But he did not understand. He didn't want to understand it. And that's just two ways of thinking. You know, that's two ways of thinking. One is innovation. One is I want more. I want new. I want different. And then one is like, no, I'm good. I've done growing. I'm good to go. I'm finished. You know, take a break. You're absolutely right. People are here because they don't want to be customers anymore. They want to be part of a tribe. And that's where it gets difficult with NFTs, man, because NFTs want to be that and they can be. But there's always a fucking financial aspect to it. You know, it's the reason why it's hard for me to get on board with the big NFT collections and the free NFTs. I just don't know what the incentive is yet. You know, like that thesis, it's possible it comes through, but that thesis is farther away than anything. I'm like, hold on, we want to do mass adoption and you want to do it and you think that the way it's going to happen is with free NFTs. I feel like that's the farthest thing away from where we're at right now. Like, in what reality would anyone care about a free item? Right? They already don't. You know, think about your fucking McDonald's toys. You throw those away the second you get home. Let's be honest. You throw them away probably before you get out of the restaurant. That's what I did. I mean, I got it. I opened it. I was like sick. I threw it away. That's how it is, right? So free NFTs, you think about it's going to be the exact same thing. And until they matter, until they do something that's helpful, they're never going to matter. So like with this kind of thing, it becomes just a digital collectible, which is cool because that's always kind of been what it is. And in that angle, I still think the scarcity matters. Like I don't know if I haven't been able to get the perfect explanation to where it makes sense. I asked Giancarlo about it. He believes it'll be the big free NFTs. Multiple big players in the NFT space believe that. I disagree a little bit. I guess it kind of depends on like what exactly your goal is there. And there's many subcategories of goals you have. Like there's many goals I have in NFTs, and they all kind of differ depending on the conversation and how deep we're going and how macro we're going, I guess, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is actually a great. Okay, that's actually a great response. It's why you got the Porsche NFTs. It's why you got the Starbucks Odyssey. Web2 companies are taking notice. So yes, in that sense, actually yes. As far as like an NFT ecosystem, that I'm on board with. Just dropping random projects like open editions, that I'm not a big fan of. But the way Starbucks did it, I am a fan of. So just a quick little sneak peek. Starbucks Odyssey is a video I'm making soon. I have access to the beta. I have one of their Starbucks things. I also have a Nike ID. There's a few different communities I've been able to get in early on just from connections and things like that. So I'm excited about that, and I want to make a full video. There's a bunch of things that Starbucks needs to work on. I'm hoping to work with them because you guys know I want to work with these companies. So the only way I can do that is to kind of make content about it because that's the way I do things. So yeah, really, really excited about that. Now let's just dive back into this article from NFT Now. By the way, NFT Now, great little article here. Really like, honestly, aesthetic and the layout and the style of this NFT article website thing, this media conglomerate. So here's an interesting way to sort of take this angle. Why ordinals are good for Bitcoin. One question, I'm quoting here, one question being asked across the crypto community is why do NFTs need to be on Bitcoin? The lazy response is it creates more use cases for Bitcoin. Damn, I guess we're lazy because that's all we've been talking about. But that doesn't answer but that answer doesn't drive to the heart at what's at stake with ordinals, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency on a cultural level. Maybe Bitcoin, as a thing separate from its users and enthusiasts, isn't meant to have more use cases. And use cases for use cases' sake is one of the primary criticisms of crypto at large. That's a big statement at the end. And use cases for use cases' sake is one of the primary criticisms. That's a fucking fact right there. For no reason, just people doing it because you can. That's why it's not, a thing, because none of them are necessary right now. It's like, yo, we partnered up with this company. It's like, yeah, but we didn't ask for it. We didn't want it. It's like, yeah, well, I gave it to you. It's like, thanks, I guess, Yeah, that one's tough. Took a break just to see your last response here. Starbucks Odyssey is interesting because the SB Starbucks mobile app has consistently held more money on it within the past 4 years than PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay. Exactly, because people come back every day. It's like those NFT projects that you have to go and claim their token every day. People think that's stupid. I love it. I love the idea of coming back and like building that. I mean, obviously that can only work with a couple projects you care enough about to actually do that. But the idea that you go to Starbucks every day to get your coffee and you'd rather just leave it in your Starbucks account because you're already going to spend it anyway. It's faster, easier, and better. And there's benefits to keeping it staked, if you will, benefits to keeping your Starbucks staked on the app. That's where I think we're headed. Like, I think a lot of the things we've built out in the first wave, second wave, third wave of NFTs are going to be sort of the foundations that are going to be built on and innovated, which is why I'm so against the whole argument of like, we don't need innovation on Bitcoin. I'm like, we need innovation everywhere, fam. Every aspect of your life can be innovated and should be innovated. Now, the extent at which you do that maybe differs. Maybe for some people, they need to go their whole life innovating and they'll never feel happy about themselves. Some people just need to work on a couple things. But I think where you can innovate, you should, because that's what we're doing here. We're getting better. We're getting stronger. We're getting smarter. We're getting more empathetic, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Crypto Dream, people are weird, man. We want to be unique. We want to be, but we also want to be like everyone else. I think wanting to be part of a tribe is a seasonal kind of thing. People get tired of it at the same time. That's a great statement, actually. Crypto Dream, you're on stage. If you want to expand on that, you can. You don't have to, but if you want to expand on that, you can, because that's a really, really insightful comment right here. We want to be unique, but we also want to be like everyone else. And then the seasonal tribes and being part of tribes is so interesting because I've noticed that a lot over the past year. I've kind of noticed this about myself is like, how quick, the seasons, how you just said, like you care about something and then you just don't care after a while. And I remember at the very, very, very beginning of my YouTube journey, there were some videos I made that when I made them, I was like, I can't wait to reference these in like 4 years. And after like 300 or like probably 1,000 videos since then, I'm sitting there like, I don't even care about that video, remember the video or anything. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to reference that video, to be honest. Like there's a couple of videos on my channel that I'll reference in the future because they're like time transcendent style videos where they're much more about the brand than they are about the time period that they're filmed in. But yeah, Crypto Dream, do you want to expand on that at all?
I'm just saying, like, you always talk about how, like, people forget things in a day or a month. Like, things just constantly change and move, especially in this world we live in today. So one thing today is another thing tomorrow. So
Facts, man. Facts. Guys speaking like a philosopher. Call him Crypto Dream, Dr. Crypto Dream, if you will. He's a beast. He's a beast. And appreciate you making it for that. I know it's fucking, well, actually, oh, no, never mind. I was about to say it's super late for you, but it's not. It's just your schedule. So I appreciate you being here, man. Here's a take from Bitbane. I'm going to assume Bitbane is a Bitcoin maxi or something. He says, I know everyone hates ordinals, but whether it's the text or images, the ability to push uncensorable information on the Bitcoin time chain effectively makes speech uncensorable worldwide forever. WikiLeaks on steroids. Phew. That is a sick tweet. That tweet is so good. I almost want to follow him just because of that. I might. Really? Why do I always forget to share my screen? The one time okay, here it is. Here's the tweet. It's by Bitbane. Let me just read that second part again. The ability to publish uncensorable information on the Bitcoin time chain effectively makes speech uncensorable worldwide forever. WikiLeaks on steroids. So you guys, I'm sure you guys know what this means because it seems to make it's a little bit confusing, like the exact rhetoric he used here. So you know, honestly, like I'm actually a tiny bit confused on like exactly what he means here, but I do think I know what he sort of means here. So obviously, we don't like the fact that people can censor us. We don't like the fact that YouTube can censor us. We don't like the fact that YouTube decides, TikTok decides which videos go viral. We just found out about TikTok heaters, where they literally pick and choose videos on a mouse click manual level, like that level where they're literally saying this one or that one. That's how they're choosing what videos go viral. Obviously, some has to do with algorithm, but they're also just choosing stuff, which is not really fair. And that's the whole fight of Bitcoin. That's the whole fight of crypto. If you're here at all, part of you says, fuck the government, fuck the people, fuck everyone making decisions for us, blah, blah, blah. But part of you is like that. And that's a very, very common thing that kind of holds us all together. So fuck them, right? Fuck anyone who doesn't let us say what we want and do what we want. This is great and terrible at the same time, right? Uncensorable information on the Bitcoin timeline. It's there on the blockchain. It's uncensorable. It's in there forever. Now, I don't have to be you don't have to be a rocket scientist to like assume that this is going to create some really fucked up stuff. We're going to see some really, really, really nasty shit probably on the timeline now, because it's, again, we're literally living in Web3 land where it's a bunch of anonymous people. So while there's a bunch of great things that are going to come from this, a lot of people are like, just how we saw the other day on NFTs for that meme project by Punk25 whatever. He drops an NFT project that's all these memes that people, it's like not a project, not an avatar project like we're used to. It's all these random memes. And it's kind of like how I think about this. Like, what if a company or a person or a misfigure, whatever, makes a whole timeline and every NFT is some really fucked up image of some really, really illegal stuff? What if it's like a whole, like almost like a wiki link? Like, what if every single NFT is like a paragraph on some really, really, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to, I can't exactly come up with real life examples, but I'm just kind of spitballing here as to what kind of things could happen and the direction these things could go. It's really interesting to me. And I think that this narrative of like, yo, we want to make speech uncensorable now, that is a narrative that could work for Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is so much about fuck the government, fuck anyone who controls the centralized exchanges, like all those things, like fuck all of them. That's what they're all about. So if Bitcoin's community gets behind this and says, wait a second, fuck anyone who tells me to do anything what I want, who tells me to do anything that I don't want to do. Fuck all of them. I want to do this. I want to build on Bitcoin because I can. That's where I think we're headed. That's what I believe will happen. Obviously, the Bitcoin maxis could do the total opposite. They could say, fuck it. We don't care. I don't believe that statement. I don't think that speech uncensorable is good. They could go at that angle. I just don't think we will. I think humans, when given the opportunity to innovate, they will. I think that's just human nature. So here's another angle. Why do NFTs need to be on Bitcoin? The response for some, because they can be, which is what we've been saying, is not what Bitcoin's all about. Because once you start regulating what data can or can't be minted, you've inevitably left with the question of who gets to decide. So a better question they say is, why is that item on this chain? So we're not going to read this whole thing because, I haven't shared screen again because I'm a fucking idiot. Here we go. Boom. Okay, so Taproot Wizards is a project that minted. I only bring this up because just before you get excited about buying Bitcoin NFTs, for full transparency here, it is a fucking lot of work to make this happen. You can't just buy it on a MetaMask. You can't just go on OpenSea. There are no marketplaces. There are no anythings. From what I've heard, I might be wrong. From what I've heard, is if you want to buy a Bitcoin NFT, you literally have to get a node and you have to find traders and trust that they will, like, I don't understand it. It's like you trade these people in Discord. So either you've got like a system like escrow where you can lock your money up, they can lock the NFT up and it does it automatically, or even third party, something like that. I'm not exactly sure how people are trading these, but it's not like everything else. It's almost like the crypto punks. People are just, it's a little bit like mysterious as to how these trades are happening. It's a bit mysterious, like if they're real or not. And that's kind of the scary part with Bitcoin NFTs is like, there are so many huge whales that nobody knows, guys. Like, you know, when you hear these things about like these mysterious Bitcoin whales, you hear that from ETH people, but like the ETH people are louder. Like they want people to know that they're the whales sometimes. And like, obviously there are people all over that, that are quiet that nobody knows about, but I feel like there's a lot more on Bitcoin, which is why the side for Bitcoin NFTs could be crazy. We are just very early. Like I know this topic has gone viral, but the people that are actually buying them is smarter than it sounds. So I would argue probably 90%, probably 95% of the people that you know that are talking about this have never bought a Bitcoin NFT. I have never bought Bitcoin NFT because I'm simply fucking too stupid to figure this shit out, and I'm too scared to actually trust a random person to trade me one to buy. That's honestly the reason. So I'm a little bit nervous to do it. I would rather see someone else explain it in a video, but you know, part of me, the second I just said that out loud, now wants to do it because I said that. So maybe I will just figure this out. I'm not sure. Crypto Dream, are you going to be buying these NFTs of Bitcoin? Are you going to be trying to figure this out?
They're way beyond my price range.
Well, no, they're not all expensive. There are still some that are very early. Like right now, there's a lot of prices being dropped right now, I think. And hopefully, either I myself or someone will be able to find some of these NFT projects, maybe find a website. But like this is like early for real. And I know everyone's already talked about it, but like these are early in the sense that like nobody knows where to go for anything right now. Like I don't know I haven't found any content or content creators who have been able to successfully link me somewhere where it's like, here, go there. This is where you do this. This is how you do that. I haven't seen any of those threads. So if you have, please definitely link them below or something. If you're in Spaces, leave that in the comments. Also, if you're enjoying the stream so far, hit that bottom right icon if you're in Spaces. Retweets, likes, shares, all the things help. I appreciate y'all. If you're on YouTube, smash the likes for me. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of NFT content coming out. I'm going to roll through these YouTube comments real quick. I missed a couple of them. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, just to go back to a little bit to the Starbucks and the NFT ecosystems conversation, it's an experience and a vibe, and now it'll be a tribe. The moment Starbucks says, hey, we can reward our customers with something more than free drinks and stars, is the moment they will want they go to the next level. I agree. Yeah. And so, yeah, and also with Starbucks is good because people go to Starbucks year round. So I agree. I think Starbucks has a lot of room to run, which is why I want to work with them. I know my friend works with Starbucks. I don't know how deep he is on the Odyssey part of it, but I want to try and if I can, in some capacity, work with them because they do seem like a company that has less holes they need to plug than most other companies, just because they have so much demand. You know. Anyways, let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is interesting. People that Crypto Dream here says like to compare like Kmart with Walmart being replaced. You know, Walmart's struggling now against Amazon. It's rare to see musicians last past 10 years. Things change so quick. People thought Kmart would stick around. It was replaced. Everyone's getting replaced. So that's a really interesting take, actually. And that's why people are like, which NFT do I buy? It's like, well, depending on how long your time frame is, it might not matter, you know. And like we don't know if it'll be D Gods at the end or Bored Ape Yacht Club or if it'll be fucking Wolf Boy. You know, like we literally have no idea. So like they even pretend like we do is silly. It is very, very silly. And to like, where's one even buy an orbital? Got me, fam. I don't know. Good luck. Discords, I guess. I do like the utility of Bitcoin. The purpose of Bitcoin is like gold to me, but even gold is replaceable. Ooh, interesting take. Crypto Dream is bearish on Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. How do you even launch an NFT? That's the thing, dude. I don't know any of these answers, bro. I don't know how to launch an NFT on Bitcoin. I want to know more. I actually did legitimately do a deep dive. I went and watched probably 2.5 hours of conversations on YouTube and different people who are supposed to be experts in crypto and stuff. Really couldn't get any information other than what we talked about today. So there's not a whole lot. Like I said, it's very early on this topic. Like, people literally don't know where anything is right now. They literally don't know, and I don't know, and like nobody knows. Like the information we just saw on NFT now, this is about as deep as it's gonna get. You guys can read that whole article if you want. Just type in NFT now ordinals or something, and you'll find it. There's plenty of articles and YouTube videos. It's just really early, so it's almost kind of like when you're like, when we're talking about Bitcoin, really, or not Bitcoin, which people were talking about Bory Bialko in the beginning. No one knew the answers yet. Until the piles of people jump in, that information is a little bit harder to figure out. You kind of have to do more research. So I will reach out to some of the influencer content creator people that I know in some of those group chats, see if I can figure something out, and would love to make a follow-up on this. Like, there's a bunch of video, like I wrote down the other day, a new folder for video ideas that I had, and some of them involved, let me just read out a couple of them for you. I have, these are actually all just titles, just wrote down the titles because I feel like it's going to make me think a little bit more. Like, we have ChatGPT is nothing compared to this. What even am I talking about there? Oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Rug Radio review. What would the laws of the AI generated metaverse be? AI is creating the metaverse as we speak. Experts are worried about where human beings are headed. Midjourney is the key to the metaverse. AI just saved crypto gaming. So a lot of AI stuff mixed with metaverse content, because that's kind of the direction I'm going. But also I want to make a Starbucks Odyssey walkthrough / review. And then I also want to do what's the other one? The Nike ID review. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Bitcoin NFTs is now on the list. So if I can find more information, I will, guys. I want to be able to deliver that information for you guys. I want to be able to deliver helpful shit to you guys. You know what I mean? So anyways, here's the last final topic here. If anyone wants to keep talking about Bitcoin, would definitely love to keep going with it. Just throw in a new topic in the comment section, or throw in a new comment. Crypto Dream, if you have something, definitely throw your hand up, and we'll get back to it for sure. Hold on. There we go. Okay. If not, we will move on, fam. Oh my God, Rick says, okay, let's do a collab NFT launch on a Bitcoin collection. I'll handle the art and metadata. You handle the show. No. Okay. All right, here, I'm going to share my screen here, and we are going to actually, before we do that, I was thinking about this. The narrative for in like 5 years, when I believe at least that the NFTs will still matter. Certain NFTs will matter in the sense that like the ecosystems of which your NFT belong to will matter. Like, if you hold a Rug Radio NFT, then the Rug Radio ecosystem matters, then your NFT matters, therefore, like that kind of thing. So I think about the Joyous Kingdom access keys. And I think about at some point when I'm on an interview and people ask about it and they say, hey, why are they still worth so much? Like, why do people still care? Why are people still buying them? And I think it's going to be because, like, with certain things, quantity is the answer. Content, I believe in the beginning, quantity is the answer. With NFTs, I think the way I dropped it was perfect, and I don't think I could have changed or done anything different, make it any better. And I don't think I ever would want to do any different. And I don't ever think, unless I drop a big collection that's very much like Rug Radio, where it's representative of the media brand we've created, that I'm definitely down to do at some point. That's going to be way later down the line. I need more money, resources. I need more of everything before I do that. And I don't even want to commit to being a founder of a project in that sense yet, because that's stupid. Like, it's annoying, the things that you have to deal with right now. I just don't want to be in that crowd of life and responsibilities yet, because that's just not what I care to participate in. And I know I'll be participating in that if I have to be a founder of a project now. There's certain expectations that I don't think are important that matter because we're in this current place in the market. So I don't really have an interest in that. I'm down right now to do the access keys and build up the lore around that, the torches, build up that small community. When people ask in the future why they have so much lore around them, why do people like them so much? I'm like, because I did all the things right. There's very few of them. There's 46 NFTs total. I minted them in 2021. They sold out the first collection. 90% of them are still being held by a lot of those OG minters and stuff like that. And the goal eventually is to make it so that people at the end of their life, when they say, yo, of all the purchases you made, which ones were you most happy with? I want on literally their deathbed to be like, man, I bought this fucking NFT when I was like 25, and every year the cool stuff, like cool opportunities, experiences, like whatever, I could be a part of a cool community. I want that to be a good decision at the end of their life, and a important decision in the sense that, like, I want it to be a part of their life for real. In the same way that going to the gym is part of your life, jumping in, seeing what the Joyce Kingdom's up to, like that kind of thing. And that will change. It might not be in 30 years. It might not be a podcast about what's going on in NFT land. It might be something very different. But either way, the Joyous Kingdom brand of rolling the dice on yourself, taking a chance on you, that brand itself, going on your journey, that is something that sticks with everyone. And that is very different for every person. For me, it means something. For Crypto Dream, it means something else. For Jax, it means something else. For Soul Knight, it means something else. For G0, it means something else. For Tickle Rick, it means something else. For like everyone here, it means something else. But it is a common trait that we all share. And I think that's beautiful. And there will be, at most 100 access keys. At most. There will probably be closer to 60 or 70. And that's going to be fun because that'll be like the OG crowd, almost be like the Genesis Hate Beasts or something. And then you'll have your full collection at some point. So I'm down to do that. But as far as a collection like that, oh, fuck. All right, well, if you're trying to launch a magic carpet rug pull, I'm definitely down to do a rug pull. 100%. 100%. The rate of gold is always decreasing because people are digging more and more gold out of the ground. It has a different utility, a physical utility that Bitcoin can't. Bitcoin can be sent worldwide. Interesting point there. Because I think there was a bit of discussion here on Bitcoin. Tickle Rick says, apparently he said, apparently bearish on gold too. I got to push back on that one, Crypto Dream. So let's see. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's not as much of a discussion as I thought there was. Anyways, okay, we're going to move on. This is the final part of the discussion here is the metaverse. So this just came out today. This is dropped by Wealth on Instagram. And the Mark Zuckerberg shows us what MMA will look like in the metaverse. This is cool as shit, guys. Be on the ready for this. I don't know when this is all going to happen. And it might just be on a random day that the metaverse just picks up again. Just be aware and don't tell me that I didn't tell you because look at this shit.
Oh, good counter too. How was that counter?
All right, that was fun around. Now let's actually go for it.
Hey, look at these graphics, dude.
All right, man. Go get that second belt.
All right, mate. Hey, I've been working too hard. They ain't taking it from me.
We did a little collab with Volkanovski, he's like, going to the world right now. So they just, and Mark Zuckerberg's been training MMA. They
What do you think of my gym?
It looks
and did this
incredible.
workout.
All right, should we do this?
All these things attached to their bodies. And it looks phenomenal. It looks like a movie. Like a real animated movie. And I don't know how much of this they can see in real life. Beautiful, dude.
Ooh, there you go.
That's pretty good.
Again. Oh, good counter too. How was that counter?
All right, that was fun playing around. Now let's actually go for it. All right, man.
Okay. I think we may have watched it multiple times. I just love it, so I just rewatched it. But dude, tell me that isn't the craziest shit. I mean, look, on the stream, it's possible that it was a bit laggy. So when I was watching it, there was no lag. But whoa, is that not the coolest shit ever? Is that stupid? Like maybe y'all are laughing at me, but that's real life. You'd be like if you were playing the game. Have y'all seen the episode of Black Mirror where it's the episode with he's the guy who plays not Captain. Well, I guess he is Captain America now, but he was Falcon in Avengers, and that whole series. The guy who plays that now he's Captain America, obviously, and he was in a Black Mirror episode, and in that episode it was the metaverse, and it was a version of VR kind of thing, right? And he basically, it's like those combat games where like those old arcade style games where it's like one-on-one battle fighting style, and he basically did that, and in the game, instead of fighting the opponent, it was like his best friend, right? He's like playing against his best friend, who's a dude he grew up with. Okay, if you know the episode, then you know what I'm talking about. Instead of fighting him, because it's a VR world, and because you have autonomy in this VR world, it's a metaverse. It's not really. It is a VR game, but you have control when you're in the game. So instead of fighting each other, they just started having sex, and it was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like what the fuck? What is happening? And I remember seeing that episode and being like, oh my God. Like when I watched it, of course, like when I watched it, the first thought I had was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Like that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. And it was a very weird, obviously a whole dilemma of like, is that from a moral standpoint, nothing to do with VR, AR, or metaverse? Is that weird? Is that cheating? Like, what does that even constitute as? Like, what kind of rules are these? Like, who gets to decide? Is this illegal? Is this should this warrant divorce? This is why that video I did that I told you guys a second ago that I made, like, what are the rules going to be inside of an AI generated metaverse? What are the rules? And then what are the rules as they return back real world? Because you made a mistake in AR land and you hooked up with a girl in this video game who's actually your best friend, who's also a guy, but you're not gay. But in the game, it's maybe you're gay, but then the character is a girl. And it's like all this fucking weird shit. I'm excited for it because I know it's going to be fun and I'm down to make mistakes. I'm down for like, I don't know. Like, I'm down for things to go wrong. Like we live in innovation. Things go up, things go down. I'm down for it all. And I'm really excited just to see how culture goes. Like, you guys, I talk about this all the time. Like, I'm interested in how culture of humans change and how we change the narrative around the stories we tell ourselves. What we say is okay, what we say is not okay. Where the line is, where we draw, where we say, okay, that's my moral line. I can't do this. I'm so excited about this whole topic in general. Crypto Dream, I know you're on stage. You don't have to say anything. If you have any thoughts on it, would love to hear your thoughts on it though.
Most definitely a bit different. I'm not very excited about all those things you said.
What do you not? What is specifically? What specifically are you not excited about?
But you're talking about metaverse and people being on the play people that they aren't. Like, how are you going to decipher who a person is or what they think, and not be completely fooled or frauded?
It's hard to, and plus right now, I mean, we're seeing version 1 of that right now on Twitter. Like, we're seeing CEOs of companies who act very professional in a normal setting, but now they're on Twitter and they're shitposting because they can, because it's like a separate identity. It'll be something like that, just on steroids. So what you're saying is you're not excited for that.
Right.
Is there anything you are excited about from that video? Is there anything from that video where you're like, oh wait, this is an interesting idea, this could be cool, or is it all kind of like, okay, this is kind of nerve-wracking?
I mean, it looks fascinating. It looks neat to be able to do.
How do you think you're going to use it? If you will. You don't have to, but like if you were offered to be part of this, like if you, at some point in this lifetime, I believe that we'll have the opportunity to either participate or it'll be like a normal thing to use, aspect of AR, VR, and operate inside the metaverse of some capacity. Are you going to be participating in that at all? Like, when I start making metaverse content, is that something that you're going to be like doing too? Or are you going to be sticking with crypto? Like, where do you see yourself being? Because you're a content creator.
Right. I most definitely believe it's inevitable. So it might as well, you kind of got to check it out, right?
True. Yeah, good point. I see Janik saying, Janik's with me, I guess. She said, give me a new Wii Sports and I'm happy. Oh, shit. Maybe they're not with me then. Damn. All they need is a Wii Sports. Fuck. Dude, Wii Sports was fun as fuck, though. I loved tennis. Tennis was my number one because it felt like the most natural in a way where, like, if I swung, it actually did sort of what I wanted to do. With baseball, it was like about timing. Like, you swing the bat right when it comes, and you don't even have to move in the direction of a swing. You can kind of just jerk your hand. I guess you could do that for all the games. But I definitely loved tennis. I did a lot of bowling on Wii Sports. I never did the boxing as much, and I didn't do much of the golf. I think it just wasn't fast enough. Like, I literally stopped playing baseball when I was a kid because it was too boring. I remember just standing there on first base going like, this is so lame. And they were like, this is the most action you're going to get. Like, first base and pitcher, you're going to move the most. I was like, bro, I'm not moving at all. And so I went back to soccer, and I never came back to baseball after that. So part of me wished I hadn't, because I could have been way more popular. Tickle Rick says, heard it here first. Cade is excited for the weird shit. Fam, look, you're Tickle Rick. You are lying to yourself if you're not excited for that. From the story I told you about Black Mirror, like, I know it's demented, I know it's weird, but like, you're lying to me if you're not kind of excited for some of this weird shit, dude. Like, even if you're not going to do it, even if you're, it makes you nervous about, with that specific example, like maybe you're nervous about your spouse doing that. Like, yes, of course, all those things considered, yes, I'm worried about like my wife doing something like that too if I had one, and like the possibility of that being a possibility, and the idea, like, this is an entirely new topic that could be, is like, why am I forgetting stuff, right? When I'm literally about to say it, and then the second I open my mouth to say it, the entire thought disappears for a couple seconds. I'm like, am I high? No, I'm sober. Okay. What the fuck was I going to say? The idea of something to do with your with your partner doing stuff in the VR, AR world, metaverse, and then you coming out of it. I don't know where I was going with that exactly. I'm sure it was probably in the same direction that I was moving for that whole topic. I can't exactly remember. I can't. So instead, I'm going to throw us a philosophical concept that I have here already pre-written for us for moments like this when I fucking forget. Can you be successful and smoke weed is the question I'm going to roll with until I remember what I was originally going to say. Am I using any memories? Okay, so here's actually, you know what? The only difference that I've done in the last week or so, and I've noticed that I've been forgetting things the past week, is this new thing I've been trying called ashwagandha. And it's been going viral all over everywhere because Andrew Huberman, I don't know if he endorsed them, but he talked about them multiple times about having to do with like helping you able to not think about stuff as much and just go and do things is kind of like what I got out of it. So I was like, okay, so it's like a very, very tame Adderall style thing. So I just bought some. Like, that's literally all I know. I don't even know anything about it. I've heard some people say there's some minor like side effects that aren't like a big deal, but this might be one of them. And I'm starting to think maybe this is making me forget because I remember vividly in the Crypto Gorilla podcast and the Giancarlo podcast, there was 2 separate times that I forgot what I was going to say. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I don't just like, sometimes you forget stuff, but you don't just like forget things constantly, like in the middle of podcasts when you've been doing this for 2 years, you know? So it may be this, I don't know. Like, do you know anything about ashwagandha? Crypto Dream?
Oh, hey. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but I was trying to use Joe Rogan's On It stuff, and I think what it is like, they say that someone who's slightly intoxicated but not drunk, they have less things they focus on, so they're able to make decisions quicker, and maybe that's what's going on is that stuff actually kind of slows you down.
Yo, wait, because like, maybe my mind is so used to like having 9 different thoughts in my head that I'm able to operate that way. But now you're saying that it's making me have tunnel vision. So now I'm forgetting about having, like, I'm used to having 5 hands in 5 different jars, but now I can't. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but there's other things that kind of do that for you, I'm sure.
Probably. It's the only thing I can think of, dude, because I'm just forgetting. Anyways, can you be successful and smoke weed? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, there's evidence of it, but I think it's a rarity, more exception more than a rule.
Yeah. From what I've heard, from what I've gathered, is like you can do both, but you'll be much more successful without it. My only issue with this is like, I don't know if I would, like, when you think about, I was thinking about this yesterday because I was watching Game of Thrones. By the way, I've made it to the very end, guys. I'm on the last episode, season 8, episode 6. I flew through this past month. I have watched so much Game of Thrones. I might as well be Jon Snow at this point. Anyways, I was thinking about this while I was watching this show of the idea and the concept of a means to an end. I'm sorry I keep breaking into these like new massive topics that could be talked about for 9 hours on Leap Spaces, but the idea of means to an end and like which means to the end are worth it. And like the reason I bring this up is because like I don't know, because like I really like weed. I love weed objectively, and I've made myself go sober for months before I re-ask myself that question and say, okay, you're not smoking, you don't particularly want to smoke, and you feel great. Do you like weed still? And my answer is always like, yeah, I still fuck with weed. I still want to smoke weed, but I don't want to go back to being a stoner. So it always comes back to the same question. It's like, okay, like let me try this. Then I end up becoming a stoner again. Then I end up quitting again. And it just goes on the cycle that never ends, and it repeats itself every half year or whatever it is. And like it's fine. Like I've kind of just gotten used to it. It's just kind of what my reality is. It's just like either way, I still get things done. I know for a fact I'm more effective sober. However, the means to an end topic comes into play because I don't particularly care unless I have some kind of like vice to get me through it. Because obviously I haven't made it yet. I haven't like made all the money I want. I haven't like, accomplished all the things I want to do. And a lot of those things, the big goals are far away, very far away. And I know that along the way, I'm going to be enjoying myself because part of the career that I've cultivated and created so far has to do with content. I like making content as I'm making content. Like I am enjoying myself right now. I love doing that. This is my favorite shit. Like right now, talking live on a stage, especially, having a discourse with someone like Crypto Dream, just chilling. We're just kind of talking back and forth. That's my favorite thing to do. If I get paid for the rest of my life doing one thing, that would be it. So it's not like I'm not, enjoying the time as it comes. However, I don't love the idea of a future where I'm constantly always sober, which sounds like the most druggy thing ever when I say that out loud. But I swear to God, I'm not. It's not really like that. Like I'm not out here doing hard drugs, right? Like that's really not how it is. And I smoke, but I really do pair it with like I. It got to a point where I was smoking weed all the time, but I was still doing things, and it became more of a mental issue than it was anything I was doing or not doing. It was like I would smoke and feel bad, even though I was still doing things that like I was normally going to do with or without it. And it became kind of stupid because I kept asking myself, I was like, why am I being annoyed by this when in the end, it's this kind of decision is not going to be what makes me not successful. The decisions that are going to make me successful are, did I put in the work for 22 years? Did I make the right decisions when I partnered with companies? And did I make money? Like that's what matters. It's not going to be like, yo, did you smoke weed today or last night? And like, did you feel bad about it? Like that kind of stuff doesn't matter. And when I thought about it, just to kind of bring it back full circle, when I thought about like, do you want to have all the success and just be constantly sober? I remember asking myself this question after 4 months sober, 4 months sober. And I felt amazed. I had never in my life still felt that good. I remember vividly every day going, God damn, dude. Like, and this is after like a year and a half stint of being a stoner, by the way. Like this is a long stoner, is a long stoner route. And then I became sober for like 4 months. It was easy. After like 3 days of not smoking, I completely lost my interest in smoking. It was wild. I never had an issue with it. And I still haven't. But every time I go 3 or 4 months sober, and it's great, I still like want to smoke though. Like I still like want to be able to smoke sometimes. And it's difficult, dude, because like I don't want to be in a world where I've had all the success, but it's only contingent on the fact that I can't, rely on myself to know that I won't fall down this rabbit hole of weed again. And it sucks because like when you think of these stoner people who are really successful, you think of like Snoop and like these guys who smoke 24/7. I don't want that either. So my conclusion is like, okay, I need to keep playing around with this, call it whatever you want, call it an addiction, call it a habit or whatever. Like I need to play around with this for the next 20 years until I have successfully integrated it into my life to where I'm not a stoner 24/7. I can enjoy it. I can go to a hang with people and smoke and not be like weird and be like, oh, like I don't drink or I don't smoke. Like I want to be able to enjoy it and like have fun sometimes, but I don't want to get addicted again. So I don't even know where I was going with that exactly, but let me roll through the YouTube comments. I know a couple people have said some stuff. So let's see. Tucker says, no, you cannot. A sober mind only requires structured water. Everything else is a distraction. It's a relative thought, of course. Can you be successful? Sure. Will you be the peak version? I agree. I agree there. Bro, I never fault anyone for smoking. It's got some benefits, but if you're looking for clarity and drive motivation, you got to have a clear mind. 100% agree. 100% agree. Come retirement, fucking blaze it. He says, yeah, if you're in a moment where you're like, man, I need to grind for 3 months, likely the answer is to do this. But also, it's like, because I've also came to the same conclusion, yet I've also chosen to smoke weed sometimes, even though I wanted the motivation, I wanted the drive and the clarity, because when you're embarking on a new thing, it's a lot easier to be sober because you're excited about it and it's all brand new. When you've been doing the same thing over and over and you know what to expect, and you know that a 3-hour editing session is coming up to you and you got about 30 minutes before that happens, and you know that it's going to take 3 hours. It does not matter what you do. It does not matter how much you try and change anything. You're going to be sitting here for 3 hours and you're going to edit this fucking podcast. That is the problem, is when you have those kind of things to do constantly. Like if I never had to edit ever, I'm not sure if I would smoke. Like, I don't know if I had a reason, but a lot of the reasons I smoke is because I'm like, okay, I got to sit down and edit for 4 hours. I could be sober, or I could just zone the fuck out and be high and just still get it done. In 3 hours, I will be done regardless. So like, that's kind of where it's difficult, Crypto Dream says sober versus non-sober gives you different perspectives. This is coming from someone that has been sober for 12 to 13 years. Holy shit. Crypto Dream. Can you you don't have to open up about this because I know this is a little bit of a touchy subject, but if you want, do you want to share some of the perspectives you had after being sober for 12 or 13 years? Be really interested in that, personally.
I once watched a movie and they said the world is a bewildering place for a junkie, and it's completely different place. And like when you've gone without for so long, you don't have that thing to really look back at to kind of like give you that release that you do when you're not sober.
Is that good, you think?
You learn to do, and then you start finding ways to find happiness in other things. So that's good.
True. So yeah, I think for me it was that release, it was that vice, it was that release every now and then. And I like having those moments. Like it's really hard sometimes to unplug and have any kind of release without having a thing, like whatever that is. For a lot of people, it's a vape. That's why vapes are so addicting, because like it's so easy. Like in your head, before you buy it, you're like, oh yeah, I'll just have a dab pen, I'll just have it on me. It's just easier, no problem. And then you have the dab pen, and oh boy, anyone who's had a dab pen understands. Once you get a dab pen, you have effectively signed over your autonomy, because now you are dictated by this dab pen. Everything you do, you might as well just hit a little puff before, And I can't tell you how many times since I've been in Seattle, because Seattle has some really good weed, fam. Like Seattle weed is different. It hits different. It hits hard. You better be ready if you come to Seattle. You smoke some weed. You're from Ohio. You're from Jersey or something. You think you can have some good weed? No problem. Unless you're coming from California, then you're gonna be surprised how good. At least in my opinion, I think the weed is great. So, yeah. Anyways, that was a really good conversation. And also with the concept of like the means to an end thing, how I mentioned earlier, I feel like it's so hard for me to explain that concept of like, I don't want to be successful if it's contingent on me having to cut something out because I don't have the ability to have the ability to control it, I guess is what I'm scared. And when I think about, philosophical questions that are supposed to help you get through these things, like, what would the version of you who's the most successful have? What would that version of you do? Does the most successful version of Cade, does that Cade when he's 35 or whatever, does the 35-year-old Cade who's figured it all out, who's got the wife, who's done all the things, does he smoke weed? And in my head, when I think about it, my answer is like, yeah, like I think I do. And there's like things I want to do that are for part of your life, are for fun and just to blow off steam kind of thing. And I think there are different things you can do. I think MMA or like some kind of fighting exercise will be part of it. And I think I'm excited because that kind of thing will be happening fairly soon. And I'm interested to see if when I start doing those kind of exercises, or maybe I do bouldering or like kayaking or some kind of extracurricular like that, like will I still care to smoke? And that's a question that I haven't been able to answer yet, because I haven't really dove into that world of like doing something for fun with a hobby like that, other than like the gym. The problem with the gym is you can always pair smoking with the gym because it's an individual thing that you're doing. That's kind of why I want to go back and join a class, because that communal aspect changed my life. When I started working at the restaurant, just for context for you guys who are watching, I'm full-time in YouTube, NFT land. I have my own business. I've been profitable every single month since August of 2021 or something like that. So it's still successful. It is still my main money driver. But twice a week, I go work at a bar and I bar back. I don't talk to a single customer unless I want to, or I want to flirt with them, or I want to try out if I want to try out some kind of joke, I'll try it on them, because I don't care. They're not my customer. So I do that all the time. I love it. It's a great place for me to practice. It's a great place for me to zone out of NFT land entirely. Nobody at the restaurant gives a shit about NFTs. So I talk about normal stuff with normal people, we do our thing, talk about drama, like whatever. We talk about whatever. And it's a really nice release from my NFT world. And it gives me a very fresh perspective when I come back. And it's cool too, because I'll get back, depending if I go out that night after with them or if I come home, it's cool because like sometimes I'll get back and I'll like grind out a podcast or something, or I'll grind out a video or edit something. And it feels like my side hustle again. And it's really cool. But the idea of having a community around you and having a group of people that are doing something with you, that's something that's very powerful and it's very slept on. I think there's a lot of people that could get a lot of benefit from joining a class, even for like $50 a month, $100 a month. It sounds really expensive, but if there's one thing that NFTs have taught me, is that money is literally not real. And like, I know everyone says this, money's not real. When you think about it, you are trading something that's in your Ethereum, probably your MetaMask wallet. It's a number. It's not even real. There's no cash attached. It's a number on a screen, and you trade it to get a picture. Just think about that for just a second, just so you can prime your mind for this next thing I'm going to say. You trade a number that is probably like 275.62 for a picture of something, and now you have zero, and now you have this picture instead. And you tell me that money's real, right? Like that's the part where you're trading your money, a version of energy, monetary energy. You're trading your monetary energy, which is the dollar sign, the money that you got in your wallet or your account. You trade that for an experience that you get back that hopefully returns the same amount of value. And there are things that are worth it, that are expensive, I think, for a normal person to buy, to spend a little bit more coin on, because what you get out of it. For example, I just spent $6 and got a fucking latte, a shit mid 4 out of 10 latte at this cool little coffee shop. And I hung out there for probably 30 minutes and I read and I also wrote a couple things down and just kind of hung out there for a little bit. And in that 30 to 40-minute trek, a quarter mile down the road, and I got back, I remember walking back to my apartment, getting ready to do this stream and thinking, damn, I just had like a whole thing just happened. Like I just had this whole experience for like 30 minutes. I feel like I've been gone for hours. And it was so strange. And I was like, man, I just traded $6 to feel this different. You know what I mean? And I can't believe it. It was weird to me. I was like, I just traded $6 of energy to have what it felt like multiple hours of reset / like refreshing. I don't know. And I couldn't believe it. It was a really weird kind of like aha moment. I don't know how impactful it's going to be, but it was just interesting to me. Like I traded $6 to feel this different and to have this weird little realization experience. And it just makes you think about money differently. And, maybe this is worth it. Maybe my mental health has been declining because I haven't joined a class because it's been too expensive. Maybe I should just bite the bullet and do the class for a month. Let me just see how that changes me. What does a month with this thing that I've been craving for so long do for me? At the end of this month, am I going to redo it? Maybe I'll find out at the end of the month it didn't do what I thought it would, and now I'm free from this thought. And like that's kind of how I look at money. It's like an opportunity for you to trade it for something else that you've never tried before or done to see, hey, is this the thing for me? Is this not the thing for me? Is this going to teach me something? Is this going to lead me to some way? Is this going to introduce me to a teacher that knows someone who knows somebody who gives me this opportunity? Like those are the things that you get with money. And so if you can get some of these things in your wallet, you can get some more money, you can get more opportunities. There are a lot of things that can happen there. But the main concept, the main point, I even brought that up just to get us to think about things in a little bit more of like a philosophical / almost like romantical or romance way of life. And I don't know. I think adding that to your perspective of life and be able to view life that way and on a constant basis, multiple times a day, like reaffirm with yourself and like check in with yourself and be like, yo, I'm good. Like I'm happy. Like when I walk around the city, it's my favorite thing to do because the second I walk outside, I see these big, beautiful buildings and I'm like, God, it's so awesome. It's so cool. I can't believe I live here. And it literally fuels my entire body with just like shivers almost. I'm like, wow, I'm so glad to be here. And that's like a thing I do over and over every single day. I had that same thought around the same time when I walk out to go to the gym or something, or I'm zooming around on one of those electric scooters and I'm like, fuck, this is so cool. I can't believe I'm really here. And to have those reminders to yourself, like for me, I've started going out and reading a book for probably an hour, but I'll go and like walk around for half an hour, find a cool spot to sit in the city, and I'll just read for a little bit. And then typically I'll just go to the gym after that. I'll come back, I'll get Chipotle on the way home, and that's the end of it. And that happens a lot. And I love it because it gives me time to like sit there and like be present. And like those times, and it's like, and the reason I brought up that coffee story a few minutes ago was because it was only 30 minutes, but it felt like hours. And in my internal clock of like my soul, it felt like lifetimes. Like it's kind of hard to explain this, but like it felt like lifetimes of like peace that I couldn't get in my room. If I had sat in my room for like in this studio, if I had sat instead of going out for 30 minutes to grab a coffee and sit and read, if I instead with that 45 minutes stayed here and edited the podcast, which is what my other option was before I did the stream, I would have felt shittier. The 30 minutes would have flown by. I would have had no new experiences and nothing would have happened. And I would have just gone through the rest of the day thinking, damn, I should have gone out. I should have walked outside in the morning instead, And it's like those decisions where you have an opportunity here to feed your soul, if that makes sense, to feed your soul. And we choose not to do it most of the time because it's not as productive. But, and there's something that Tim Ferriss said that I heard or I read somewhere earlier today. And it was like, yo, how do you get all these things done? What are the things you do? What do you spend your time on? He goes, actually, you know what? This answer is going to surprise you. He's the guy who wrote the 4 Hour Work Week. He's like a serial entrepreneur, super rich, super successful. He goes, I don't really concern myself with all these little daily tasks. Yes, the daily tasks need to get done, but they're not really part of my thought process. They just get done. If I need to do it, then I get it done. I don't think about it. It's not on my schedule to do and I go ahead and do it, but it's not like one of the things I think about doing. The things I think about doing are the biggest decisions that I need to be making, and I'm just preparing for it. And I'm educating myself. I'm getting ready. I'm meditating. I'm getting prepared for myself to make that big decision. I'm doing the baby steps necessary. I'm doing the things that are going to lead to me one day saying, okay, I'm ready to make that decision. That decision will change the course of my business. That decision will dictate the rest of 2023. And when he says that, it's like there are certain moments and there are certain decisions and there are certain thoughts and ideologies and questions you ask yourself that do matter. Most of them do not. And it's if you can think about it when you're sober or if you're high or basically if you can have an intentional sitting session where you're intentionally sitting down trying to decide what's actually important and you can identify this a little bit. You don't have to make it a thing. You don't have to go out of your way to do this, but you can just sit there and be intentional for a couple of minutes and say, okay, like what actually would send my career into a fucking W for the rest of the year? Like what actually would help? It's like, well, this would probably help. Okay, and you ask yourself and you go, okay, it's actually like one or two things for real. Like it's really only a couple things. Everything else is pretty much just noise. Like say for example, like this will be good for stoners because we're talking about weed. Say you're a stoner, but you're wrestling with the fact that you're a stoner, like kind of like me. You're like, maybe do I want to smoke? Like maybe I shouldn't smoke before this. Maybe I should. And you're thinking about all these things, and then you realize, like, wait a second, is this conversation in my head going to be what makes or breaks my business? And it's like, no, of course not. Like you had the same thought yesterday, and it didn't lead anywhere or go anywhere. You just wasted 20 minutes thinking about it. Like what really mattered is you closing that deal 2 weeks ago. What really mattered is you talking to that guy or that girl, or you get a podcast, or you slide in their DMs, or like that mattered. And then like on the grand scheme of things, like that didn't even really matter. What really mattered is you made decisions that impacted your podcast because that's your real career path. What really mattered is you spent 30 minutes drawing out a plan. Like that mattered. That actually mattered. And so if you can go through life saying, okay, chances are I'll still get to the same place that I'm trying to get to, regardless of this 10-minute little conversation I'm having in my head, then maybe I just don't need to care about this. And so next time when it comes up in my head, I say, wait, hold on. We don't need to actually think about this for 20 minutes. We can just make a decision and either smoke or not smoke and move on with our life and just go. And it won't matter because you remember that 2 weeks ago, you said the same thing to yourself. You did argue for 25 minutes. And at the end of the week, the same stuff still happened. It didn't really matter. Right? Because that big decision wasn't really affected by if you smoked or didn't smoke 2 weeks ago. It just didn't matter. And you said the same thing yesterday. So, like it's only certain things that matter in your head. And if you can remember that enough, it'll start to naturally show up in your life and you won't need to think it when it comes up. You'll just naturally not think about it because you're used to always thinking, oh, wait, this doesn't matter. Let's move on with my life. Let's let the thought pass and move on. That's what's really cool about this whole thing with intentionality. I'm glad Luke Belmar's blowing up. I used to hate the guy. I saw like 3 of his podcasts. I thought he was really annoying. I thought he was a little bit like, I don't know. I didn't know anything about him. I just thought he was kind of like one of those e-com guys who just got rich and got lucky. He's actually really knowledgeable. He says a bunch of good stuff. He's just about intentionality, and I'm down for that. And I think it's a really important thing as we move into 2023. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of content creators, a lot of people doing shows and stuff, and they have a certain narrative. They have a certain goal they want to push. And just make sure that you're taking time out to make your own decisions, to be able to come to your own conclusions, to have your own thoughts about stuff. Because if you don't, then like, why are you here? And like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Crypto Dream says, Pareto principle states that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. However, it's not a hard and fast mathematical law. That's exactly right. And it's all about perspective. And you only get that perspective by intentionally sitting down and carving out that time. Some people might be meditation. Some people might be journaling. Some people might be just like typing stuff down, writing things down. Some people might just literally be sitting there. But the entire thing is about you telling yourself you're going to do this and sit there and actually follow through with it. It's much harder than people think. Most of us don't get that done. Let's be honest. Most of the time we don't get it done. Most of the time we kind of just half-ass it. And that's okay. Like, it's really hard. And the goal is not to nail it every single time. The goal is to get better at it every single time and to make, 0.0001% better, not 1%. No chance you're going to get 1% better. In 100 days, you'd be a master at it, which is not a thing. Like, it's going to take a little time. And it's scary, dude. It's fucking hard. Like, I failed every single time. I fail every time, actually. Literally every single time I fail. But I'm getting 0.0001% better, because 6 months ago, I wasn't as good. I'm a little bit better now. So fuck them. Fuck anyone who's trying to tell you not to do that. So make your own decisions. If you feel like a content creator watching is pushing too much of their shit on their audience, call them out on it and be like, yo, like you should be pushing your audience to be more autonomous and make their own decisions and come to these conclusions themselves. Don't tell them what to buy. And like in my opinion, like when you have an audience, if you're talking to 12-year-olds, maybe your audience is 12-year-olds, maybe it's different. But if you're talking to an audience and you're treating them like children and they're not, then like maybe you're getting views and money and stuff, but it's like you're not actually leaving this place a better place. You're not actually leaving the world a better place, you know? And there are a lot of content creators and you don't know which ones are which. It's just hard to know. You know, it's often a blend. You know, like for me, it's a blend. Like I want to make money, I want to have success, I want to have views and stuff, but I also want to make a real impact. I know at the end of my life, I'll be asking myself the impact I left, not the followers I had. I know that's the answer. And it also, I know for a fact, it is what brings me the most joy, because when I do get those DMs every now and then, they say something that's really touching or it helped them or something, that feels a whole lot better than when I look at my subscribers and I see a certain number. I don't care about that. So everyone, fucking go after your fucking dreams. Get better. 0.001% a fucking day. Go on your joy age. Begin the joy age. The joy age begins at 38%, not at 100%. The joy age begins when you're kind of ready, sort of. It does not begin once you're ready. It starts before you're ready, and about halfway through, you go, damn, I don't think I'm ready for this. And then when you're done, you say, shit, that whole thing just happened, and I was not ready for any of it. And now I'm here, and I'm not ready for the next thing either. But guess what? You already went on that joy age. The joy age began, which means you're on the fucking boat. You're on the voyage. You're going. You roll the dice on yourself. Congratulations. You were on this fucking joy age. Consider picking up a Joy Age Kingdom Access Key NFT. All the links are down below. Yeah, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you smash the like button for me. If you're in Spaces, retweets, likes, shares. That bottom right icon looks like a message icon. Could be purple, could be white, depending on, I don't know why it's purple and sometimes why it's white. Sometimes. But anyways, yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all. If you're on YouTube, likes, subscribes, all the things you guys know. NFT content coming out every day. AI content, metaverse content is coming at you. Philosophical content. I want to make a bit of a comeback. I feel like I got a little bit lazy with the content recently. A couple videos, a couple different conversations, maybe think about quality a little bit more. I'm glad we did this 4-week little experiment with coffee break. It's come to an end. Thank you all for being here. Maybe I should have done like a POAP or something. Like I'm not sure about that whole world. I do hesitate before I do anything that's permanent, like a POAP, for example. Anything that's on the blockchain, I hesitate just because I don't know how it's going to play. And I don't want anything permanent to be there unless I'm sure I'm okay with it being permanent. That's why I'm okay with the access keys. That's why I'm okay with doing torch collections, because they're small. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for being here. Until next time. Also, coffee break. Just in the future, I will just be making announcements and I'll put like tweets out with like the Twitter Spaces coming up kind of thing. But it won't be 1 p.m. PST Monday through Thursday. It's going to be based on what's going on. If there's nothing to make, I don't want to sit there and take out 4 hours of creative energy just to come up on stream, just because I said I'll be there at 1 o'clock. I want to make sure the quality's there and that when you tune in, you actually get something out of it. And at the end of the stream, you're like, I'm glad I went, versus I wasted my fucking time. So anyways, Crypto Dream, thanks for coming up on stage. Delta Max, shout out for you. JNX, thank you for literally showing up every single time. Soul Knight, you as well. Chilltown Zero, I appreciate all of y'all. YouTube, appreciate all y'all. Until next time, continue on your joy age, continue to learn, and if you're live watching this YouTube video or Twitter Space or TikTok Live, bye.